Good evening and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we are live from Studio Vanguard. We are linked in with the following repeaters.
Cades Cove.
That's it?
Cades Cove, Chattanooga, Lookout Mountain, White Oak, Fort Mountain, Georgetown, Ottawa, Watkinsville, Jersey, Flagship, Columbus, Rome, McDonough, Lula, Dallas, Moreland, Ocala, Florida, and we are having technical difficulties with the VoIP service Zello this evening, but ordinarily we would have Zello in our bag of tricks as well.
You know, it's unfortunate because we had a remarkable thing happen this week by way of Zello.
Yes, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
We already are. Continue.
Continue with the script.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, well, tonight our coverage encompasses approximately 41,000 octagon-shaped miles. They could be square, but that would be boring. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone who has made the North Georgia GMRS Network the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
And Atlanta 750, WRMR 367. My name is Jeff.
That is so cool. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to hear about. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members by their name or their tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you check in and check out of the net. Tonight's topic is going to be what brought you to GMRS Radio. Many of us came here in search of something, alternative communications, something to get us by if the networks go down, the conventional communications are broken in some way. What was it that brought you to GMRS Radio? So that's the question we're going to ask, and we'll find out along the way. Jeff, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
Well, I was kind of outside the mold. Most people come to GMRS Radio first and then go to amateur radio second. I did it backwards. I got my amateur license first and then found North Georgia GMRS after that.
Oh, that is backwards.
Yeah. So I am not normal, which you would never argue that point at all, so we won't go down that rabbit hole. That's a topic for a different day.
For Monday nights.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, very good. I don't think you're unique. I think there's a lot of amateurs that are looking for activity on the network, activity on their repeater, and are disappointed in it not being there, and start scanning around and find, hey, what's all this traffic? There's stuff going on all throughout the day on this network. Let's break. So I think that's a fairly common response for finding North Georgia GMRS Network, but I think there's probably also a wide range of other approaches, and I'm curious to see what some of those might be. But before we do, a couple of announcements to make. Do you have the announcements on hand?
I do not. I have plenty of stuff on my screen, and that's not one of them.
Well, I happen to have it right here. So there's three things. The first one is we had probably certainly the longest distance contact on North Georgia GMRS to date. And I looked at this. It was 6,630 miles. It was a contact from, what was the name of that town in Egypt? Cairo or something like that?
Something like that.
Something like that. So in northern Egypt, someone was able to get into our network using Zello, which is kind of a bummer because they can't even monitor us at the moment. But nonetheless, we wanna make a little accolade there for a record contact, 6,600 miles. Um,
I'm trying to find
that's just incredible. That this network is it's
Luxor,
global.
Luxor, Egypt.
Luxor doesn't even sound like Caro. So Luxor, Egypt, 6,600 miles by way of Zello.
It was Chattanooga 51.
Chat 51. What's his name?
Steve.
Steve. So congratulations, Steve. That's a record that's going to be tough to beat. And but we would encourage our members when you're traveling, definitely check into the network. Check into North Georgia GMRS. You don't have to wait for the net to be on. You can check in anytime, day or night. Someone is bound to be monitoring and will listen. So if you're on the other side of the world and it's noon, I would give it a shot, because there will be somebody on the network that will likely answer. All right. Next we have a little an issue we want to address, and that is we have an environment that is very family friendly at North Georgia GMRS, and we have a very casual environment. And lately there's been a little bit of language and lingo that's been used on the network, and we really want to stress the importance of avoiding that. In the first place, the FCC says that we're not supposed to use coded language. And we don't even want you to use 10 codes on North Georgia GMRS. Even though the FCC allows 10 codes in GMRS rules, if you read our rules, we ask that you not use 10 codes on the network. And by extension, we don't really want any of that CB jargon or lingo used on the network. So
let's break before you go into detail.
So with those things in mind, when we're conversing with others, avoid those kind of phrases and terminology. In one sense, it can be a real turnoff, especially for folks that have listened to the CB bands and have come here to get away from that. If you've come here to get away from that, the last thing you want is for elements of that to be coming and brought into this network. But more than that, you know, we are an entry-level sort of a radio service. Lots of beginners here. And so is CB radio. There's no license required for CB radio. And so anybody can grab a radio, you can get on the air, and it's kind of like Facebook. You can talk smack, and you're completely anonymous. Nobody's going to be able to find you. Nobody's going to be able to positively identify your radio transmissions when you're on the CB bands. But when you're on GMRS, you are required to use a call sign, so you can be identified and announced, located, etc. Bear those things in mind. Be reasonable and responsible with your communications on the network, and we want you to definitely avoid using any of that jargon or that lingo, especially anything that could be related to CB. And certainly, we do not allow the 10 codes, primarily for that reason, because we want to distance ourselves from that entire radio wasteland.
So we are a family-based network. We oftentimes have children and other family members involved, and to use lingo like that also kind of scares people away with the fact that, well, I don't know the lingo and I don't know how to talk. The whole idea of this network is a family-based communications network, and to just talk like you're at the dinner table, just normal conversation. If you were sitting at the dinner table with grandma, you wouldn't say over every time a sentence is done.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, speaking your call sign phonetically is sort of a coded message, and yeah, I get it, and it's a habit, I suppose, but that's a habit to use in your amateur call sign. There's really no reason to do it in a GMRS call sign, unless you're showing off, and, you know, we're not impressed with that. So phonetic call signs, you know, pronunciation of numbers like you would do in amateur radio, you know, we just
like
normal conversations.
Just like at the dinner table, you can tell clearly when the repeater drops, so you don't need to say over, and then the repeater drops anyway. So again, just like you're at the dinner table, Like you would talk to your children, like you would talk to your grandmother, like you would talk to your wife. Just sitting around the dinner table, casual conversation in plain language, plain English. That's all we're looking for as far as language.
Plain language?
Yeah.
All right. Is that like Alfredo?
Something like that.
All right. All right, and then the third item I have on my list, what is this? Oh, we just signed a brand new member in Ocala.
That's right.
So that's very cool. So we don't have a lot of activity from that region, but hopefully we'll get some more. Hopefully that's an RF user because Zello is down tonight. But in any case, you know, these are inconveniences that we face, and we'll get Zello back up and running. Ordinarily it would be by now, but we just circumstances are what they are. And
Well, let's take a break and explain what those circumstances are.
oh, do we know?
Yes.
Oh,
Let's take a break. So the circumstances are
we didn't pay the light bill?
I don't think that's the case, because if that was the case, Noonan wouldn't be working either.
Ah. All right. So let me guess again.
Well, somebody slipped and let the cat out of the bag before the net. So some people already know. But our big announcement is the big antenna change for Lookout Mountain.
It is a big change. Lookout Mountain had been an antenna mounted on a fence post 10 feet or 15 feet in the air. But now the antenna is
on top of a water tower over 300 feet above ground level on the very tip top of Lookout Mountain. So pretty much the highest point you could physically get to is where our antenna is now as of today. So Atlanta 6-0 and some other folks, I know Chattanooga 4-0 was involved in that, and they got that all up and running and on its feet and in its new perch today, which is why he's not home to address the Zello issue.
Yeah, I completely didn't realize you were going in that direction. But yes, so this is really exciting stuff because, you know, it was a big disappointment when we lost our repeater location on Lookout Mountain a year and a half or so ago. And when we were able to turn up that repeater on Lookout Mountain, that was so exciting to be back on that mountain once again. But now, not only are we back, but we are back large. And so I'm excited to see what the footprint is going to end up being for Lookout Mountain. I know some folks have already begun exploring that footprint, and it'll be exciting to see what those actual performance ranges end up becoming. Hopefully somebody will keep a log of some of the places that Lookout reaches.
Sure going to be exciting.
Yeah. So do we have anything else to announce?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. All right. Well, then we should probably resume check-ins. And, well, there's no point in taking Zello check-ins, is there?
Not unless it magically started working again. No, it did not.
All right. So Zello's still broken. We're going to continue on with check-ins from any repeater other than Flagship. So anyone wishing to check into the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net, please call Net Control now. I see the repeater lighting up, but I don't have any audio.
162, Larry in Rivermont. Check me in, and I will be monitoring and working at the same time. I may comment and I may not, but thanks for doing the net. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
This is WRXM 922, Gainesville 58, Jonathan from Oakwood. I'll be in and out.
This
This is WRUY 995, Chattanooga 115, located atop Lookout Mountain, right almost beside the repeater, and I'll be monitoring. Just check me in if you don't mind.
Was that any repeater other than Flagship?
Yeah.
We only got 4? 3?
Yeah, but we already have a pretty good run, so. All right, let's go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We have Chattanooga 162. Larry in Chattanooga is in and out tonight. Gainesville 58. Did we already call on Gainesville 58? No, we didn't. We've got a lot of 5.8s tonight. We have a Rome 5.8. We have a Chattanooga 5.8. Now we have a Gainesville 5.8. Jonathan in Oakwood is in and out. And we had Chattanooga 115J on top of Lookout Mountain is in with us tonight. So those are the check-ins we have at this time. We're going to go ahead and open this up to any repeater anywhere, including Flagship, anyone who would wish to check in. To the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net, please call Net Control now.
This WRJR 959 CW2, Steve in Arnoldville, Georgia, checking in, checking out.
This is WRQ G806, Atlanta 557. Ed in Kennesaw, please check me in and out.
This is WRUX 823, Atlanta 1193, Travis in Dunwoody, Georgia, checking in and checking out.
This is WRBW 268, Atlanta 32, David and Alpharetta checking in and out.
This is Net Control. This is WRNW 488, Atlanta 532. Tom in Flowery Branch, checking in and checking out. Have a great net.
All right, I say we roll with it.
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. All right, Net Control will now acknowledge this last round of check-ins. We had CW2, Stephen in Arnoldsville is in and out. Atlanta 557, Ed in Kennesaw, in and out. Atlanta 1193, Travis in Dunwoody is in and out. Atlanta 32, David in Alpharetta, in and out. In Atlanta 532, Tom in Flowery Branch, in and out. Those are the check-ins we have at this time. We're going to go ahead and kick things off. Tonight we're talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about what brought you to GMRS Radio. So we already got Jeff's story. we'll find out what yours is coming up next. So with that, we're going to go to the top of the roster. We have Atlanta 780, Houston in Austell. Houston, what brought you to GMRS Radio originally, and what do you find about it that keeps you here for all these years? It's a little rough, but if you keep it talking loud the way that you are, I think we'll be able to read you all the way through.
All right, sir. Well, I'll make it quick. I'm kind of like if I had my ham radio license before I got GMRS, and we're just looking around trying to find some other conversations. I think I read something somewhere about GMRS. Kind of got to looking for it and checked into the group one night. Found out I didn't have the right license, so I got the license and came back, liked the group, and hey, I've been here ever since. I think it was around 2014.
Well, that's also an interesting story because there again, I don't think you're alone in amateurs that assume that, oh, hey, there's a radio band I can talk on, and not realizing it takes a different license than the amateur radio license. So that's I don't think that's unique, but I'm glad to hear that story. And you've been here since 2014. I think that makes you probably one of the longest running members. I think John Bedsole was here for longer than that, and I'm not sure how long Ed's been around GMRS Radio, but just a handful. I've been here since 2017.
And Ed still has the old style call sign too.
He does, yeah. Yeah, that's a unique call sign.
His doesn't start with a W.
That's right. The first time, and it's only 3 letters.
That's right. It's
the
backwards.
first time I heard that, I thought, that's not a valid GMRS license. And a quick conversation with Atlanta 60 set me straight. Oh, yeah, it is. So Atlanta 73 definitely has a unique license number. Well, good stuff, Houston. Did you have anything to add to that?
No, sir, not really. Just a great group of people. And I don't know, it's changed a lot over the years since I think we had our 19 members or something like that when we got into it. But, it's a great group. Go ahead and, if you would, go ahead and check me out. I'll make me a bit listen over. I'll listen to what I can. Atlanta 780 WGUB 432.
All right, Houston, we've got you checked out for the evening. So thanks for getting in there nice and early with us. Glad to have you along. And yeah, that's good stuff. So where are we at? We're next is Atlanta 1402. Todd is smoking. What do you say he was smoking?
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings. All right. So Todd is in and out. I hope those are some tasty wings. Also, we had, by way of relay, Atlanta 1403. Krista in Sugar Hill is in and out. That'll bring us to, we were just talking about, Atlanta 73. Ed in Lawrenceville. Ed, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
And my other question is, when did you get your GMRS license to have that such a unique call sign? What year?
In response, in reverse order, my first call sign was a KAB, and that was in 77. I got my current call sign when they screwed up my license in 83 and got my current license. Answer to the first question, the CB club I used to belong to was a REACT affiliate, and when REACT started pushing
a better system, they pushed us toward UHF, and that's where we went.
Oh, very good. So it was part of the radio club, and it was an opportunity to, I guess, perhaps improve performance on your radios versus what you're doing. I think you mentioned the CB club. So were you using a repeater with GMRS, or was that Simplex Communications at that time?
First Communications was actually a repeater, but at the time we were only allowed 2 channels. So we did some conniving and used more than one repeater, but they weren't in good locations, so we had to be careful where we were.
Very good stuff. And so that was used with the React team in dealing with community community issues. I don't want to say emergencies, because I think React does more than that, but special events and activities of that nature. Is that right?
That would be correct. The team was also the official search and rescue and emergency communications for civil defense, which became emergency management for Atlanta Fulton County.
Very good stuff. All right, well, thank you for all that, Ed. That was very interesting. And so, yeah, he had a KAB call sign back in the day. So very cool. Be tough to find one of those these days, but yeah, I don't know if they'll ever recycle any of those. I mean, people give up their call signs all the time. You think they'll ever rotate back into K?
Well, I'm not sure, because they don't really let you do vanity call signs for GMRS, so once they're gone, they're probably gone. They're going to stick with them all starting with W again, I would assume, to be service specific.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll ever run out of the W's. I just don't know. I mean, there's probably a lot of potential call signs. I just don't know how many possible there are versus, how many licenses have been issued.
That's true.
So somebody will have to do the math. It's not going to be me. All right, speaking of math, next on our list is Atlanta 551. I'm not sure how that adds up, but Shannon, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
Hey there, Justin. Well, I'll try to be brief. You know how hard that is for me to do. Basically, I was looking for an alternative communication system in case cell phone service went down. I didn't like CB because it was short-ranged and not very regulated, as it is with GMRS to have a FCC license and all that. But when I got on here, I didn't realize I didn't know about the network or the family, so that was a real big added bonus, which is why I joined. And I think it's a good backup in case we have to get out there, with less communications, which is also why I got the ammo can for bug out.
Yes, the ammo can radio. We see them all the time at the Ham Fests, and in fact, a lot of people refer to that as a go box. And the go box radio is one that is meant to be, more than an HT, but not something that's attached to a vehicle or a building or things of that nature, so that you can rapidly deploy that and be on the air. In a sense, you could maybe consider Vanguard to be a go box. Should we enter it in the...
I don't want to talk about this. It's been almost a year and I'm still upset.
All right. Well, we're definitely going to talk about it now that you've made that comment, but we'll move on for the moment. But very good stuff. And I don't know if I've seen pictures of your go box, your ammo can, or not, but you should take a few pictures of that and post it. I think lots of people would be interested in seeing that particular rig. What do you use for batteries in that?
Roger that. You're right. I don't think I've actually posted it on the group page yet. I'll do that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It has its limitations, but it actually works. I've done a lot of simplex testing on it. Got out about 40, 50 miles. Yeah, it's a good go box.
Well, good stuff. And alternative communications is one of the things that gets mentioned probably the most in terms of folks that are looking for GMRS radio. I think it's one of the things that I've heard most often is that concerns with the conventional communications network, cellular, internet, those modes of communication being interrupted for whatever reason. And, there's been a handful of occasions where we've had regional or even very widespread outages. Was it Sprint that had they had an issue where voice calls couldn't be made, but you could still send text messages. So your phone looks like it's connected to the network, but you can't complete a call. You can't talk to anybody. You can convey messages through SMS texting, but you cannot make a voice call. And that went on for the better part of a day. That was 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly.
Well, Verizon had a similar issue just a month or two ago. Your phone looked like it was connected to the network, but it wouldn't make telephone calls. It wouldn't text message unless you were connected to Wi-Fi. It was all kinds of goofy.
Yeah, so these things can happen, and they do happen. And another case in point is the AT&T building in Nashville when that was bombed. That shut down internet connections. It shut down cellular, and there's not really landlines anymore. Those are all VoIP circuits these days. But it killed that. So people that had a phone hanging on the wall, those phones were out for quite some time. So that can happen. And if you have an alternative communication method, that can at least get you through to the other side of this crisis until we figure out what it's going to take to move forward. Is this something is this a change in lifestyle, or is this just an inconvenient period of time, or what is the nature of this particular crisis? And having alternative communications can be an important aspect of that. And one more thing, for those of you that have engaged in GMRS radio for that reason, for alternative communications, it's very important that you engage your family in some basic training. Whether they want to be participants in the network or not important to me. Whether they're even on North Georgia GMRS Network, also not important to me. But what is important to me is, even in simplex frequencies, if they know how to turn the radio on, know a little bit about channels and what channels they should be using, and how to change channels, and know how to talk on the radio. For some people, the idea of pressing that PTT button is terrifying. And who might be listening, and what am I going to sound like? So you've got to practice these things with your family members before the crisis strikes, so that when something does happen, you're good. Like I say, I don't necessarily need for these people to be on the air with us every week, but I would like some assurance from you that your family is ready to go. All right, Shannon, thank you very much for all of that. Let's go ahead and continue on. We have my friend Bill up in Chattanooga. The Rocket Man is a big fan of all things rocketry, and love having conversations with Bill about Starship and things that are going on in the space frontiers.
You should break.
I will. All right. Next you've broken my concentration and my place on the list. There it is. Rome 58 Chad in Rome. Chad, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
Justin, Jeff, you guys are doing a great job as always. Like Jeff, I was a amateur guy for years, and here in the last few months, myself and a good friend of mine do some off-roading. He's a Jeep guy. I'm a Toyota guy. And quite frankly, we needed comms between each other, and he did not want to take the test for amateur, so I caved in and went the GMRS route, and to be honest with you, I'm very glad I did. Like you mentioned before, the amateur repeaters, at least where I'm at, are quite frankly very silent, other than if there's some bad weather or the occasional net here or there. But the North Georgia GMRS repeaters are very active, which I have thoroughly enjoyed. And let me break real quick. And so it was kind of a godsend. I mean, I knew you guys were around. I had listened to you before years ago, but just never thought I would get into it. But, you know, here I am, and I've really enjoyed getting into it. And one more thing, you guys were talking about the recent Verizon outage. Just to reinforce it a little bit, let me break. Member of mine had a flat tire during that outage, and they were able to get a text message to me via Wi-Fi, but they had no cellular coverage. They couldn't call AAA. They couldn't call anybody. And I managed to get to them, and what was funny was I was actually talking on the radio to some other members of the group, and it was my sister actually who was the family member, and she's like, "How are you communicating?" I said, "We're talking on the radio." And, you know, she had always in the past kind of laughed off my interest in radio, but then all of a sudden it sparked her interest. Well, maybe I need to get one of those. So that's a real world experience that proves that these things come in handy.
Well, Chad, you bring up a good point that, yes, there are real-world circumstances where, you know, the radios are very useful, much like that situation. You get a flat tire, and, you know, in that circumstance, there was a cell phone outage that the cell phone didn't work, but, I mean, let's face it, there's lots of places in North Georgia through the mountains where you're just not going to get cell phone service, even on a good day. And, you know, depending on which mountain you're on, whether it's near Flagship or near the Rome repeater up on, what's that, Mount Alto?
What about cell coverage at Mount Waleski?
Flip a coin.
Yeah?
Some days it works, some days it doesn't.
So, and you know, location, if you're standing this way or standing that way, kind of like radio, you're holding an HT, sometimes you got to find that spot that works best. So, but in any case, Jeff's point is solid, and Chad as well, that we definitely should have these tools available, but it also is important that we
practice and implement them
with our family members.
Right. So if you had gotten a radio for your sister, but she's never used it before, would she know how to use it to call out to you to even get help? So there's that too.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily need for our family members to know how to program radios, to know how to, you know, all the ins and outs, but some basic understanding of repeater usage, some basic understanding of simplex usage, and some basic understanding of the radio itself, and how to charge the radio could be an important thing. So these are things that we would encourage you to get your family involved and trained.
So my question to Chad would be, has he turned his sister's opinion around, and is she getting involved in radio now?
Well, Jeff, we've still got a little work to do there, but what she and my brother-in-law don't know is I've already ordered their Christmas presents for this year, and I'll give you one guess what they are. They're radios.
Both things.
And we are going to have a crash course on some basics and how to turn it on and how to access the repeater and, how to say, hey, and again, this goes back to my amateur days is, hey, I'm a non-licensed user, but I need help. And to your point y'all made earlier about there's always somebody listening, and maybe I'm not, but there is somebody out there that will be, and that's the great thing about this network.
Yeah, I think part of that we've kind of come to a critical mass where there's a large enough membership that and a variety of lifestyles and a variety of people who are working and retirees and so throughout the day, throughout the turning of the clock, somebody is monitoring and is able to respond, and I think there's a lot of value in that. But even if we did have limited people covering the clock, so to speak, there's still a higher likelihood that you'll be able to find someone who can help you on this network than on most amateur radio networks. But very good stuff. And I have to say that there's a tremendous value in an amateur license, above and beyond what we can do in GMRS. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm discounting the value or the application of a amateur radio license. There are so many things that we can do in amateur radio that we cannot do in GMRS. And if you have a hobby or an interest outside of GMRS radio, you fly airplanes, you remote control airplanes, you are an off-roader, you are an outdoors person, you like to run 5Ks, 10Ks, and marathons, the Ironman race. There are applications for radio in all of those things and so many more. So these are some things that are definitely worth pursuit once you've acquired your GMRS license, if you do it the normal way and get your GMRS license first. But
I never claimed to be normal. What do you always say? I may be correct, but I'm not right.
You may be correct. You ain't right.
All right. We're good to move on?
Yeah, I think so. Chad, did you have anything else for us?
Last thing, and this is not GMRS related, but we're all guys and we like seeing things that are interesting. For anybody that's interested, the Georgia Power facility here in Rome, Plant Hammond, they've been decommissioning it, and this Saturday morning they are going to be demolishing the smokestacks, which are both several hundred feet tall. And it's Saturday morning between 7:45 and 8:30, and it's kind of one of those things that's once in a lifetime to kind of get to see. And just letting everybody know, hey, if you're in the area and you want to see something very unique, they're going to be dropping 2 smokestacks at the same time. And yeah, guys, that's all, and I'll be clear. And once again, you were doing a great job tonight.
Oh, that sounds very cool. I hope that somebody out there can take some video of that and maybe post it to the North Georgia GMRS page. I would love to see that. Now, generally, when they do demolition of that nature, where they're using explosives, they highly discourage the use of radios in proximity to those blast areas. So, something to keep in mind. I don't know that radio is truly going to have an impact, but we don't really want to test that theory at all. So
no, that'd be something to avoid.
That's kind of like cell phones on airplanes. For years, you were turn it off, turn it all the way off, put it in a bag, stow it away, make sure it's off before you do. That's just what you did, and by golly, you didn't question it either. You turn that cell phone off, or you'd get
bad things will happen.
You're right, and so we just did. we didn't question it. We just turned it off, and then along the way, somebody said, I forgot to turn my cell phone off, and we didn't crash.
The plane still took off.
Yeah. Why did that work? Why did they not know that my phone was on and make me turn it off? So, and here we are now where they, if you don't mind, put it in airplane mode so that, you're not transmitting at least on cellular. But I think these airplanes now are built and protected against that kind of RF energy in a way that there's no longer really any concern for what your phone might do to the electronics on an airplane. It's not going to make the gyros turn backwards or screw up the GPS or any of those kind of things.
So you say.
People are using cell phones on airplanes now. All right. All right, thanks for all that, Chad. With that, we're going to go ahead and move on to, we have next Rome 36 Jeff in Silver Creek is in and out. Atlanta 313 J in Rome is in and out. Gainesville 46 Bob in Commerce is in and out. Dallas 20 David in southwest Paulding County is in tonight. David, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
Hey, good evening, guys. Ultimately, it was off-roading use, and then it turned into emergency communications. Trying to find out how I can keep in touch with family members in case the cell phones went down. I, of course, like everyone, bought a Baofeng radio, and then found out I needed a license. Got all the FCC out of the way. That was a fun job. I was actually sitting in South Carolina in the parking lot of a job site when I was doing the application. And then, going through my GMRS, trying to find local repeaters in South Carolina, there was, maybe 6 or 7, zero traffic. So once I got home, I started doing a little more research and found out that GMRS simplexes, not very far unless you're on the mountaintop. And, Googling how do you make GMRS talk further, lo and behold, North Georgia GMRS was top of the Google search already. So, got involved with that a little over 2 years ago, and, never looked back. But the emergency communication is the biggest thing when I'm at work. If the cell phones are down or what have you, I can call my wife at the house from the job site. So that's the benefit of it. And, having another family. It's turned into lifelong friends here, going to cookouts and all kind of fun stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And hosting cookouts, too, every now and then. It's it is an aspect, I guess it's the unintended consequence of becoming involved in North Georgia GMRS is all the baggage that comes with it. All the people you meet, all the friends that you make, all the some lifetime friends. And that's one of the things that I really treasure about this network is that there's a high quality of high caliber people engaged in this network, and we just don't have issues where we have a lot of troublemakers or a lot of problems with people. It's just a very, very easygoing group of people, and we accomplish great things along the way. So great stuff. And the emergency aspect of the communications is definitely one thing, but there is a family to pick up along the way, and I think a lot of people feel that way, and I do as well. There's a tremendous value in the individual members that make up North Georgia GMRS Network, and that's a quality that is hard to find in any group of people, but to find that consistently in a group of people this large, I think is truly remarkable. So good stuff, David. Do you have anything else? When's the next cookout?
Whole rabbits?
That's going to be sometime next year. Actually, I think it's going to be that training session we were mentioning on the last rabbit hole. You know, it'll take a little bit of time to get everything organized, and it will also take a lot more time for me to unpack in our new house once we get moved. So our plate is full right now, but hopefully sometime soon.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to an opportunity to spend some time with you on Saturday. So we'll definitely have a chance to catch up on all the details and exciting news that you might have, and we'll talk about what next year might look like. So that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and move on to Dallas 2-1. Lisa in southwest Paulding County is in and out, as well as Dallas 2-2. Seth in southwest Paulding County. He's in the same place actually. They're all. I don't know how that works, but
weird.
It's like they're a family or something.
And live in the same house.
So Seth is also in southwest Paulding County. He is in and out. That'll bring us to Chattanooga 3-0. Jonathan in Lakeside. Jonathan, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
I guess it traces back to what I was talking about a couple weeks ago when you asked, what model of radio was our first GMRS radio, and I mentioned it was a couple Motorola workhorses from my forestry days when I worked in some very remote areas of northern Maine back from the late 80s up into about 2000, and I'd kept those radios in a box and moved them probably 20 times over 20 years, and just always like, man, surely there's something to do with these radios. And like other people mentioned, I was hanging out with some off-roading buddies, and they were using bubble pack radios. And so I got to looking and see what kind of radios they were using, what it was, what frequencies they were, and found out that, there's some licensed frequencies here, there's some unlicensed frequencies, and then it kind of dawned on me, like, wait a minute, I think my forestry radios were up into 460 megahertz, and so I got out one of my scanners and keyed up, plugged in one of my forestry radios and keyed it up and let the scanner run and identified that it was, sure enough, it was about 463 megahertz. It was like, all right, what can I do with these? And then I started looking around of, like local Motorola communications places to see if I could get them reprogrammed to some kind of available channel, and it was like, we don't support those models anymore. And one of those cases of one thing leading to another, I asked for a pair of walkie-talkies for Christmas last year that were GMRS, and got those up and running, got my license, and started looking at my Motorola stuff a little more and found one of the guys on the NGGMRS network who could program them, and it was like, all right, I'm in. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here, but I do like it, Break. And something I do really appreciate here is I can't deal with like a lot of noise and different people talking at the same time. It's just like my brain just can't handle it. If I'm sitting at a table with 10 people and 3 different conversations going, it just like it all scrambles up. But I really appreciate these nets where it is a nicely moderated conversation of one topic and one person talking at a time. I'm going to talk more here, and during this 2-minute period, and I probably talked all day, but because I really appreciate this network, and I'm looking forward to hanging out here and be involved. Maybe get involved in helping out with towers, or like I did a couple months ago, cutting that tree out of the road. If there's stuff I can put my talents to use with here, please keep me in mind. Thank you.
Well, that's really cool that those old Forestry Service radios were able to come back and live a second life and in a meaningful way. So that's really great. That I had some old radios too, but they will remain in a shoebox that they've been stored in for I don't know how long. They're not going to be useful in GMRS radio. So, but yeah, we just so happen to have an event coming up in October.
In your neck of the woods.
That'll be in East Ridge at the...
just down the road from the luncheon spot.
Oh, yeah, from Champy's.
That's right.
Yeah, so is it the community center? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
So at the East Ridge Community Center, there will be the Chattanooga Ham Fest, and that event is put on by the Chattanooga Ham Club. Their website is w4am.net. And you can go there for more information about the Ham Fest. North Georgia GMRS will be there. Will be a significant contributor to that Ham Fest. And we're going to be providing some auxiliary communications, kind of like what we did at Jeep Fest. But one of the things that we're going to do at the Ham Fest that's kind of cool is we're going to host a net live from the Ham Fest grounds. So Thursday evening, for those in the area that would like to be a part of the live audience during the net, provided the weather allows, we're going to set up Vanguard. We're going to drop the tailgate, and we're going to host a net. We're going to invite people to come in and sit with us, and we'll have a microphone outside too, and we'll host the net from in here and in front of a live audience. So if you want to be a part of that,
well, even if weather does not permit, we still have the option of doing the same type of scenario, but indoors.
Because we have Studio G.
Correct. So either way, we will have a live net. It's just a matter of which studio.
And Studio G was the that was the kind of the, I guess the ember in the fire pile that
the tip
that
of the iceberg.
Yeah. So what we wanted was the opportunity to mobilize and set something up remotely and operate as though we were at either Jeff's studio or at my Studio B. And so Studio G was developed to achieve that. And we used it last year in Chattanooga indoors, and we were able to put on a net in front of a live audience. And that evening we set a record of, I believe it was 82 check-ins.
It was up there.
And it was a great net. It was a lot of fun. We did have live audience. We did have live participants come on the air with a headset or a microphone right there in the room and participate in the net from the venue. So we hope to do that again. And Chad, we hope to see you. I'm not talking to Chad, am I? I'm talking to Jonathan. It's all a scramble in my head at this point. Jonathan, we hope to see you there. And if you're interested in showing up to work some of the volunteer duties, send an email to support@NGGMRS.org. And we'll see if we can get you plugged in. So and that goes for anybody else.
For scheduling-wise, Thursday of that week is going to be our setup day. And then the show officially opens to the public at 1 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah. So kind of the game plan for Thursday is we're going to have lunch at Champy's, correct?
Correct.
So we'll be having lunch at Champy's on Thursday. Around about, 1:30, 2 o'clock, we're going to break out of Champy's and head for the community center and begin setup of the Vanguard studio. We also have setup work to do inside the venue for some of the forum rooms. We have our own booth to set up and banners to hang. So we've got
lots of chores.
Lots of chores to do on Thursday prior to the net. And then once the net starts, we'll be on the air, obviously just like tonight till it's over. So Thursday is going to be a big day for us because we'll be doing all of that after we travel.
And then whatever we don't get done will get wrapped up Friday morning before lunch, and then, of course, the doors open to the public at 1.
So it'll be a big weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we hope to see lots of you there. So we can hang out at Champy's for lunch for just a little bit. You can come help out at the rec center if you're able to. At the rec center, at the community center. What, I'm not sure where that came from.
Well,
and then you can participate in the net Thursday night.
So there's lots of opportunities. We should break.
Lots of opportunities, and if you can't do it all, you can hopefully do some of it. And absolutely hope to see you at the Ham Fest. These are a lot of fun. Ham Fests, for those that are new and don't know what this is about, this is an amateur radio typically organized and conducted event, but there's stuff there that is electronics and radio related that often applies to things that we do in GMRS radio, but also there's just a fascinating collection of people's stuff. It's a flea market of sorts for radio and electronics, and you never know what you'll find. So if you're wise, you'll leave your money at home, but if you're not wise, you'll be like me and collect a bunch of stuff that you end up taking home, and that's probably what I'll do. There's a couple of vendors that I look for at Hamfest because I know that they have little parts and accessories that I like to be able to keep on hand. It's a great place to collect accessories and adapters and things of that nature. And I'm always on the lookout for more slugs for my bird meter. So,
well, this year's Hamfest too is unique with their topic of at the ready preparedness. So I would assume there'll be preparedness-type vendors there in addition to radio-type vendors. And I would assume there's going to be some forums and some presentations along that aspect as well. So it's my understanding, based on an email earlier this week, that the Hamfest is just about sold out to the point where there's only going to be one presentation room this year because they need the second room for vendors.
Oh, wow.
So there's going to be a lot to see this year.
Well, that changes a little bit about how we're going to set things up then too, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but I'd rather see it in that scenario than the other way.
Right. So, well, that's exciting. Do we have a list of vendors yet?
I don't believe so.
Nothing public?
At least not to my knowledge. It may be on the w4am.net website.
Okay.
But I have not checked recently in the past couple days.
All right. We'll have to check that out maybe after the net. So, all right. Well, good stuff. I appreciate all of that, Jonathan. Hope to be able to see you at the Chattanooga Hamfest. Next on our list is Chattanooga 84 Jim in Hickson. Jim, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
Oh, I think it was one of these nets, and it was your magnetic personality that just attracted me right to it. How's that sound?
Well, just like I tell Jeff, you may be correct, but you ain't right.
No, I'm not right. It was emergency communications. My son wanted to be able to have something. We already had a couple balfangs that we used out in the woods hunting, and then I went back and looked at CB and wasn't so sure about that. And although that's what I grew up with. And I found GMRS, and I found North Georgia GMRS, so I jumped into it, and then it just rekindled my love for radios, and within the month or so, I got my tech license, and then I got my general, and I've just been having a blast. So hats off to North Georgia GMRS for all they do, and great network and wonderful people. I've made really good friends. And it's been a very enjoyable experience.
Well, that's a great thing, and you know, I'm gonna turn this around just a little bit, and I'm gonna say that the radio hobby in general is lucky to have gained your interest. And for those of you that don't know, Jim hosts the Lone Ranger Net. And the Lone Ranger Net it's an amateur radio net, but it's a net that's geared toward folks that are living on their own and may not have anyone to check up on them on a regular basis. So when we get to a point in our lives where tomorrow is uncertain, it's good to have somebody that can at least be available to just give a general checkup on your well-being. And so Jim hosts a net that performs that function, and I think that is a tremendous community service, and one that is under-recognized, I think, in today's age. So thanks, Jim, for the service that you provide to our radio neighbors in the amateur radio community. All right, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I appreciate that. I had once mentioned maybe trying to do the same thing on GMRS, but I don't know how much thought you guys have put into it, or it may not work. There may not be enough people that want to participate, because we do have. I would say that the demographics of GMRS is a lot younger than the demographics of ham radio. So, but there may be a time. So if we get there, we get there. Appreciate you calling on me and having the net, and enjoyed the conversation. And this is WRKK 629, back to net.
All right, thanks for all that, Jim. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on. Next on our list is Chattanooga 69 Ronnie in Rossville. Ronnie is also a Skywarn net controller. That brings us next to Chattanooga 97. Aaron in Cleveland is in and out, and so are his dogs. We'll have to find what the TAC numbers are for those dogs. Perhaps Chat 97.1.2. I don't know how many there were. We'll find out later. Next on our list is McDonough 22, Tim in Stockbridge. Tim, what brought you to GMRS Radio? Tim's asleep in his easy chair.
He may have been in and out.
I don't think he was, but he's had some pretty big days, so we're going to just move right along. All right, so we're going to go ahead and show Tim as in and out and keep right on moving. Next we have Chattanooga 171J in Winchester is in and out. Atlanta 417 William in Auburn in and out. Atlanta 528 Ronnie in Lyerly in and out. Atlanta 240 Patrick in Duluth is in and out. Chattanooga 33 Charles in Chattanooga. Charles, what brought you to GMRS Radio? It's not even that late. They're dropping like flies. They can't stick around for 2 hours, much less 3. All right, we're going to go ahead and show Charles as in and out and keep right on moving. Next, I have Gainesville 76 John in Gainesville, in and out. I have Atlanta 236 Chuck in Dawsonville, in and out. That'll bring us to Gainesville 44 Joe in Cleveland. Joe, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
Gainesville 44. I was brought into North Georgia GMRS and GMRS Radio in general. I started with G-to-G communication off-road, that kind of thing, when four-wheeling. Once I retired, I started having communication more, even though I did it before. But once I was retired, I was out there more and going farther, camping overnight sometimes. Started hearing these frequencies sometimes.
That's right in your face now.
Did some computer work. I think I came up with Northeast Georgia GMRS on the web page. Continued the investigation, found North Georgia GMRS, and that website led me to my sign up and the towers and frequencies and where I'm at today. I'm very pleased to be a part of the family. It's a wonderful network.
Well, good stuff, Joe. And yeah, I think the Jeep to Jeep communications is also a common. That's also a common theme with a lot of folks that are looking for a way to communicate while on the trail, and so yeah, I think that's one more that that we're seeing more and more of the that mode of communication. But you're right. This is more than that, and the relationships. I know that you've made a few friends along the way, and the relationships that we gain from this crazy radio hobby is pretty cool. So I have to give you that. Did you have anything to add, Joe?
Well, I will kick in there. I've gone from actual GMRS legal Balfang, which not many people realize that you can have them, but do a couple of type base stations in my home, a rather high-powered ICOM in my vehicle now for off-road, and I've been very happy attending the Hamfest and being around North Georgia GMRS's enclave that they put together at these events, and really proud to be a part of the family. Thank you very much. Gainesville 44, back to you, Net Control.
All right, Joe. Yeah, and I think we're all glad to have you part of the family as well. So that definitely goes both ways. Appreciate your comments. Next we have Atlanta 259, Dana in Dahlonega is in and out. Dallas 49, Doug in Hiram is in and out. Atlanta 589, Don in Kennesaw is in and out. Atlanta 585, Blake in Oxford is in and out. And that'll bring us to Atlanta 403, Bobby at the Vertex. Where is he? Bobby, where are you at?
I am at the Vortex, not Vertex, VORTEX. That's Joe's house, because when you're here, it sucks you in, and like you come for 5 minutes, and you're here for 5 hours, and time just disappears at the Vortex.
Now, when you said that, I was thinking of that that Vortex in Midtown, where they have a variety of burgers that are ridiculous, and these are burgers that are 6 inches high when they come out on your plate, and they have everything. They have 3 or 4 patties of meat. They have French fries on them. They have a fried egg on them. They have, and so they one of them is called like the coronary bypass, or
what do you have to unhinge your jaw to take a bite out of it?
So I didn't have the big one, but I had a couple of burgers at the Vortex, and yeah, I cannot open my mouth to get that. So your choices are leave it on a plate and cut it with a fork, and I'm not going to eat a hamburger like that.
Or squish it.
I can't do it. You just kind of have to mash it to shove it in, and you take a big old bite and then you pull the burger away, and it's like a child-sized nibble off the very edge. I can't finish them. It's just too much. But
well, you went a totally different direction with that than I interpreted, because I thought he was saying Vertex, like the radio brand, because I believe that Joe has a Vertex.
Most likely, yeah. So I guess what that boils down to is that we need a Bobby interpreter, so that we have some idea what the heck he's talking about.
So, anyways, Bobby, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
Okay, guys, there is no Vertex at the Vortex. I had to add that in there. I took a cert course back in 2017, I believe, and the radio communications guy was our one and only Atlanta 545, Jerry, and he did a thing about radios and showed us about GMRS and that kind of thing, and did a couple cheapo Bofangs there. And he asked if anybody was interested in it, and I just hopped on the bandwagon, and by the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I signed up for membership. He told me all about North Georgia GMRS. He told the whole group about it, but, you know, I was one of the ones that really ate up the information. I like radio stuff, so, as you know. And that was it, you know, from that.
Timeout timer?
Yeah. You know, if you had a Vertex radio, I'm pretty sure you can change the timeout timer. I'm not sure you can do that with the ICOM that he has.
Well, I think he's a little more long-winded than Joe is. Because I've never heard Joe hit the timeout timer.
Well, I suppose that's it. He's probably using Joe's radio. But nonetheless, I think that, you know, a longer period of timeout is certainly called for when we're trying to interpret Bobbyisms.
Yeah, I said I'd drop out. I wasn't sure because I'm on one of his radio oddities, and it's got multiple channel scan and blah 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 and all that. I wasn't sure why I timed out, but I did see that. I did notice it. But sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't set these radios up. Joe did that. But yeah, the ICOM's in his Jeep. I gave him an ICOM for his Jeep. So, but these are radio oddities at his home base.
Very good, very good. All right. Did we have anything else for Bobby? Did we hear what? Tell me. I got so caught up in the timeout timer, I missed what he said. Brought him to the CERT.
The CERT team.
The CERT team, yeah. That's what brought him into radio.
Atlanta 545.
Right. It's a whole different conversation. I'm beginning to remember now. So caught up in the timeout timer that I lost sight of what he said.
You need an instant replay.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for all that, Bobby. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nothing really to add. It's a great network, and I've loved it being here. Whatever, 7 or 8 years. You know that. I've been talking to you ever since. And the only thing I wanted to add is I wanted to know what microphone are you using on the Heil headphones in case I do bring mine to the chat. Hamfest, I got to know which microphone to put on it. I assume it's not the ICOM.
No, it's the dynamic.
Yeah, it's just the dynamic microphone that comes on the standard Heil. So I'm not sure if you're talking about putting different microphones on the Heil or if you're talking about the connectors for different radios. But
well, you can change just the element, which I believe is what he's talking about.
Okay.
If you bought an ICOM headset, it's going to have the Electroset element, which is not going to be.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
That's not going to work on a commercial radio. That's made for like the HF ICOMs.
Yeah. So you're going to need the dynamic microphone element. So if you have that, that's the one you want to put on, and that'll work on our systems. So yeah, and that'd be great if you brought your headset. That's one key to getting to the head of the line for being able to operate out of Vanguard. Is if you have your own headset, that gets you to the front of the line.
Plug and play.
That's right. That's right. It makes things very easy for us to get set up for users to operate.
Yes, there's only two elements that go on the Pro 7. There's the dynamic and there's the ICOM Electroset. So he needs the dynamic one.
Okay. All right. So there you go, Bobby. Dynamic will do it. All right. Next on our list we have Atlanta 454. Steve in Lilburn. Steve, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
This is Atlanta 454. I got into GMRS Radio
The first time originally about 20 years ago. I was working EMS up in New Jersey, and we had a group called Jersey Coastal Emergency Services. It was a group of current and retired police, fire, and EMS, and we kind of did emergency communications for around the area. For a local weather station, we did Skywarn.
Very good stuff. And there's quite a collection of folks that are from New Jersey. Bobby would be one, who was just on the air a moment ago, and Chattanooga 160 would be another. And Chattanooga 160 is the host of the Skywarn Net on Tuesday evenings on the northern region of our network.
The Chattanooga area.
Yeah, it's specific to the Chattanooga area, so we don't carry that on the entire network. But if you had any interest in connecting with either of those guys, definitely look them up on the air. All right, did you have anything else, Steve?
Thank you guys for the net, and it's okay, you can check me out. This is WRXV 688, Atlanta 454. Back to you, Net.
All right, we've got you marked as out of the logs. Thanks for your check-in tonight. With that, we're going to move on to Atlanta 725. David in Canton is in and out. Cades Cove 81, Candace in Rockwood is in and out. Cades Cove 83, Bill, also in Rockwood, is in and out. Atlanta 130, Tom in Ackworth, in and out. Atlanta 412, Scott in Roswell, is in and out. Dallas 64, Josh in Dallas, is in and out. Chattanooga 162, Larry in Chattanooga is in and out. Gainesville 58, Jonathan in Oakwood is in and out. That'll bring us to Chattanooga 115. Jay on Lookout Mountain is in with us tonight under the shadow of the Lookout Mountain repeater. Jay, what brought you to GMRS Radio? Bueller. All right, they're dropping like flies, and it's only, what is it? It's not even 9 o'clock yet. This could be the shortest net we've ever had, at least in a long time. All right, not hearing from Jay, we're going to go ahead and move on. We'll show Jay as in and out. Next on the list is CW2. Steven in Arnoldsville is in and out. Atlanta 557. Ed in Kennesaw is in and out. Atlanta 1193. Travis in Dunwoody is in and out. Atlanta 32. David in Alpharetta is in and out. Atlanta 532. Tom in Flowery Branch in and out. Those are the check-ins we have so far this evening. So one thing I want to make mention of at this point in time, because I've got a feeling that I've mispronounced, like for instance, I got Aaron's name wrong. It comes up as George, and I didn't realize that he goes by Aaron. I should have known, but I didn't. If I say your name wrong when I'm checking you, when I'm going through the roster, there's an easy way to fix that. And that is to send an email to Gary at NGGMRS.org, or you could send that email to admin at NGGMRS.org. Either way, and make a note in there that you would like to change the way you're listed in the roster. And if you do that, we can make those changes in the roster so that when it comes up on our log, I'll see it the way that you want me to say it. And I'll do the best I can to say it properly.
Well, I think it's also worth noting, too, that with all the folks pursuing their amateur license,
absolutely,
if you would like to get that added to the roster with your amateur call sign, that's also same procedure, but different update.
Yes, same procedure, but a different update. But I would love it if our folks that have become amateurs would go ahead and update your information, because we take a lot of pride in the fact that it used to be around 50%, but it has kind of fallen down into 38, 39, 40%. Around 40% of our members are amateur license holders, and we absolutely encourage the pursuit of amateur radio. I think that amateur radio is kind of the next logical extension of the radio interest that we have in GMRS radio. So once you've been exposed to GMRS radio and you're still hungry for more radio opportunities, amateur radio is the next logical place to go. Now, I know some folks that start out in amateur radio and come here, and there's value there as well. But as novice radio users, as many of us are when we first come to GMRS radio, that's the direction you're headed in already. And so amateur radio is just a continuation of what we do in GMRS radio. It's more opportunities, it's more education, it's more expensive, but it's also more fun. There's things that you can do in amateur radio that we cannot do in GMRS. And it just so happens that there will be an opportunity to take an amateur radio test coming up when?
At the Chattanooga Hamfest.
Yes. So, and we have just about a month between now and the Chattanooga Hamfest. So that's a great amount of time for you to sit down and start studying for that technician's license. There's a great resource to use for studying for a license that's free, and you can download this on your phone. It is hamstudy.org. It's actually an ICOM radio product, and if you put this on your phone, what's great about this? You set up a free account with hamstudy.org, and you download this to your phone. And when you have 15 minutes to kill, let me break. When you have 15 minutes to kill, or an hour, or 5 minutes, you grab your phone and you pull up Ham Study and you go through a few questions. It'll keep track of your knowledge, and what it does is it presents questions to you that you miss more frequently. And the material that you've mastered, that you show mastery of, it'll still review that stuff with you, but it shows that stuff to you less frequently. So the better you're doing in a particular area, it lets you focus on the areas that you're not doing so well in. It's a very well thought out program. It's easy to use, and it's free. Put that on your cell phone, and in your spare time while you're waiting for the kids, while you're waiting for your wife, while you're waiting for dinner, you spend a few minutes every day studying for your technician's license, and you'll have no trouble getting it. One more thing I'd like to make mention of is as you're studying through hamstudy.org, you'll have the opportunity to take practice tests, and that can give you a kind of a confidence level in terms of whether or not you're ready to actually take the test. Once you show that you can pass at least half of the time that you take your practice test, spend a little bit of time going through the general license material, because when you sit down and take the test at the Chattanooga Hamfest, as soon as you pass your technician's test, they're going to give you the opportunity to take the general for free, right then and there. It's the same cost for the test session regardless. And if you study for the general, you may pass that as well. When I took my technician license, I had no idea that I was going to have the opportunity to take general as well. And so when they handed me the test, I took it, and I missed becoming a general by one question. So it was very, very close. Had I studied a little bit, I probably would have made it. And so that's what I encourage all of you to do. Learn from my mistake and do better than I did. And if all you come away with is your technician license, I still call that a win.
That's correct.
So,
and for scheduling purposes, they are only doing testing on this Saturday, which is October 21st. So a month to the day today.
Oh yeah, that is. That's a month. That's a perfect amount of time, because the stuff that you learn now, you'll still have, whereas if you're 2 months or 3 months, you'll forget stuff along the way. So this is a great amount of time. Start studying for your amateur license and plan on taking that at the Chattanooga Hamfest on October 21. Yeah, October 21 at 1 p.m.
Yes.
So it's just one test session?
I believe it's going to be about all afternoon, but it starts at 1 and it's only on Saturday.
Okay. All right. So plan on that. And if you accomplish a technician's license at that event, we would love to know about it. So be sure and let us know. All right. Should we...
Probably giving away free popcorn to anybody passes an amateur test.
I think that's in order, yeah. Free popcorn.
Maybe a sticker.
Maybe a sticker. There will be limited edition stickers. I should have them in the mail tomorrow for the...
First come, first serve.
Yeah, for the Chattanooga Ham Fest. So there'll be, I think that may be, for those of you who are at the Jeep Fest and were able to score a sticker, it's a similar but different sticker. So we may end up with a sticker collection, if you will.
For all the events you attend.
For the events. So I plan on doing the same thing for the Stone Mountain Ham Fest. We'll have a new and unique sticker for that event, and as events come about, we'll see if we can come up with new stickers for them. Time to break, and then we'll take some more check-ins. All right, so we are at the end of the roster, and at this time we're going to go ahead and take additional check-ins for the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Anyone who'd like to check in is welcome on any repeater anywhere. Also, any questions or comments, one at a time. Net control standing by. Floor is open.
This is WRO 245, Atlanta 849 in, and Pamela in Duluth, and Atlanta 848 Ernest in Duluth is out.
I thought I fixed all the logs, but I guess I didn't.
This is Atlanta 420, WRFS 771, William and Roswell checking in.
Eight and one. Well, all night.
Candace with a comment.
Chat 97 with a comment.
Oh boy.
This is WRVR 393, Atlanta 178. And check me out, please. Thank you.
178?
Yeah.
This is?
I think he's in and out.
Gainesville 43, WRXM 345, David in Auburn, checking in and out.
This is WRXI 755, Cades Cove 80, checking in, checking out.
This is
They're not going to stop.
Atlanta 434, WRKR 284, checking in, checking out.
We're not going to get an early quit. Maybe if I jump in there now, I can slow this thing down. But who knows? Maybe it'll pick up speed.
Well, maybe people are watching and they're just going to feed off your comments. Jump in there more.
Maybe. All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge what we have. We have Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth is in with us tonight and by relay. We have Atlanta 848, Ernest, also in Duluth, is in and out. Also, we heard Atlanta 420 William in Roswell is in tonight. Atlanta 178 Michael in Conyers is in and out. Gainesville 43 David in Auburn is in and out. Cades Cove 80 Eric in Rockwood is in and out. Atlanta 434 Ron in Cumming is in and out. Also, we heard comments for Cades Cove 81 and Chattanooga 97. I think I'm going to go to the comments first. I'm curious what Candace has for us. Cades Cove 81. Candace, what is your comment?
Well, evening, Nick and Will. I was at work doing a net went on. That's why I was acting in and out. My old net in the net tonight, the thought net was tonight. The waiting how I thought in the GMRS network way. I have always followed in my net, which is 8 and always wanted to be a part of a family on the radio, and now I finally found one. I would like to say awesome net, y'all. That's all I have to say. Let me think. The reason why I haven't been on not really, right now, and I probably shouldn't be talking right now, but that's why I haven't been on the radio that much.
Well, Candace, I'm glad that you found GMRS Radio, and I'm glad that you have found a way to communicate not only with your family, but I believe from some of the traffic that I've heard that you've found an extension of that family in North Georgia GMRS, and you've found a number of people that care about and are interested in your circumstance and condition and in your well-being, and have offered, things like radios and just friendship. And so I'm glad to have you as part of the North Georgia GMRS Network, and I know that many others here are as well. And there are circumstances in life, that life happens, and so there are many times when things will come up that keep us from being able to be on the radio, and it's okay. You don't have to justify your absence. I'm not looking for an excuse. I don't need a doctor's note. I just appreciate the fact that you're here now, and that you're able to participate when you can. And, life is life, and sometimes there are things that are bigger than the net or bigger than the radio, and you have to tend to those things first. That's just the way it is, and I expect nothing else. That's just so glad to have you here, and look forward to hearing you on the air again very soon. So thank you for that, Candace. Do you have anything to add?
Yes, I have one more thing to add. I have been hearing a lot of people been asking about me and my husband. I'm sorry I haven't been on the radio. But life happened and things happened. On my radio, my SWRs are not good. I'm like by me new and a new mouth. And so is my husband. 83. SWRs are not really good at all. So I am, we are doing okay. We are grateful that you're taking out of it, and we are won't be on it line and I met and be on the radio more often. That's all I had for my next tonight. And thank you so much for Ellen and Ellen about it, really. I mean, and Papa, 81 and 83. I mean, 12 and Boston.
All right, Candace. Well, thank you again for all of that and for that explanation. There again, we don't necessarily need excuse or doctor's note, but thanks for letting us know, and hope that things will slow down a little bit and that you can get back to spending time on the things you want to, rather than the things that you have to. So. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to Chat97 had a comment. Go ahead, Chat97, with your comment.
Chat97, apologize for the they are very high-pitched I get on the radio, so I want to throw that out there. They might need a
Is he done?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I hope that you don't take too seriously my comments. I love hearing the dogs on the air, and they're no distraction or bother whatsoever. In fact, the duration of this net, Penelope has been right here in the studio with us. So she's pretty quiet. So you're gonna have a tough time hearing this one on the air. But dogs are part of the family, and this is a family-based network. So whether it's a bird or a dog, sometimes Sterling makes star appearances on the air
at Studio C.
That's right. So definitely love hearing that stuff. So no apology necessary. And next time you're going to check into the net, get them on up first. That way we can hear them every time. That's what I say. So no worries whatsoever.
Sometimes Doogie checks into the net from our side.
Every now and then, yeah, because he wants a tater tot. Yeah, somebody taught him that he's going to get a treat every time we eat, and if that doesn't happen, he starts to get a little bit upset. How are your fingers?
He didn't realize that you don't have tater tots with pizza, but still wanted tater tots.
That's right. That's right. So, all right, good stuff. Glad that you were able to come back to us. But Aaron, no worries whatsoever, and absolutely love to hear the dogs in the background. And I'm just teasing with you, so don't take too seriously anything that I say. Really anything that I ever say. So, with that, we're going to go next to Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth. Pamela, did you have any comments for the net? What brought you to GMRS Radio?
Thanks, guys. Glad we were able to make the net tonight. Our chiropractor was a little overloaded tonight, so we ran a little bit late getting in here. But I love the subject, and I wanted to comment, though. I love the dog's name, Penelope. I never thought about that for the dog. But there must be some reason, some story I'd love to hear behind that name. And I'm sorry I missed the dog's introduction earlier. I would have liked to have heard that. Maybe there's a repeat. Let me break. By relay of 848, he's given me the permission to talk about what we got started. He told me he wanted to find some way to be able to communicate when the cell service was messed up, because where we sit in the little valley here, we have had some issues with the cell service, and he's had to put some kind of a special receiver or whatever it is he put in here so that we could actually have cell service here. so we got started to have the alternate service. But I didn't know that we were going to have such a wonderful family or group of people and of new friends that we've met in the last, I think, 9 months or something like that. We've been doing this, and I really enjoy getting the opportunity to speak to whoever calls out. And late at night, you talk about people being out here to listen and help those that need help for radio checks. Well, we're the ones, we're the night owls that are out here ready and available to help anybody that needs some service. So we've really enjoyed it, and it's been a lot of such fun, and we're looking forward to the Stone Mountain Fest at the North Georgia Fairgrounds. Looking forward to, hopefully the Vanguard's going to be there. I really want to see that and get to do a little speaking there.
All right. Yeah, I think emergency communications or alternative communications is a real common theme as well. Folks that are just looking for, I tend to think of it more as an emergency communications mode, because if the cellular network is down and you still need to be able to make that contact, then this is a great way to do that. And the size of the network means that just about no matter where you're at, you should be able to reach someone at home. So hopefully, if we get into a situation that requires that kind of activity, we'll be able to accomplish that. And yeah, Penelope, I don't know. I think we kicked around a handful of names, and that one was in the jar, and that's the one that we settled on. I don't remember what the other names might have been. I have a couple of names that I've always threatened that if we get another dog, I'm going to name it, but I can't say those names on the air.
Why does that not surprise me?
So, I don't want to have to put a nickel in the swear jar, so I'm not going to say those names. But in any case, we've enjoyed Penelope for quite a while, and she's a very well-behaved dog, and she is our studio hangout dog for tonight. Usually it's Doogie.
Yeah.
I think he would have. His attention, if there's a noise or, he's like any other dog. He thinks everything's a squirrel, and he has to go check it out. So.
Well, Andy's like a bull in a china shop.
He kind of is, yeah. Yeah, he will.
This is kind of close spaces for his energy level.
Yes. There was an occasion when Jeff and I were working on the trailer, and we had just got the floor installed, and we had the repeater cabinet was loose on the floor. It was full of equipment, but it wasn't mounted into the trailer yet. And Doogie came into the trailer
at 100 miles an hour.
At 100 miles an hour, and slid across the new floor into the repeater cabinet, shoved it up against the wall, and then he's like Kramer on Seinfeld.
He kind of is.
He just kind of showed up, sliding into the room, and hey, here I am. So, in any case, and there's Penelope.
Sort of.
Yeah, hard to get an angle on Penelope, but yeah, Doogie is a lot of fun too. They both have their own personalities. If you have dogs, you love them like family, and we certainly love ours. All right, next we have we have Atlanta 848 Ernest in Duluth was in and out by way of relay, and that'll bring us to Atlanta 420. William in Roswell. William, what brought you to GMRS Radio?
Good evening, Net Control. I was having trouble reaching you guys or getting you in on the radio tonight. I've been having some atmospheric conditions there that kind of got in the way there. I guess what brought me to the radio for GMRS was increasing distances for emergency communications, and Gary and the North Georgia GMRS group made it possible for what no one individual is capable of doing. And with all the multiple repeaters, I had to become a part of it. That was a very important thing. Let me take a break. mental battery's been kind of run down here for the past couple weeks here. I'm enjoying the downtime. I tried to get into the rabbit hole network on Monday there, and I apologize for not making it in. It was they took a break before starting the net, and I had just left the vehicle, and by the time I finished and got back, that was already over there. But again, this is a fantastic network. It is an extended family. And thank you again for the reminder for October 21st at HamFest in Chattanooga for the testing for the ham radio license. I'm already a technician, but I will be preparing for the general and possible the extra there. So again, thank you very much for that reminder. And if I get time to make it up to the fairgrounds, I will definitely let y'all know. This will be Atlanta 420 WRFS 771 clear.
Well, thanks for that reminder for the Chattanooga Ham Fest, and we're definitely looking forward to that. So, William, are you gonna test for an upgrade on your license at the Ham Fest?
I should. It's getting back in the study mode there. That's what had drawn down the mental battery on me. I needed a little break from reading and studying there. But, yeah, I think if I'm going to go ahead and upgrade to the general, I might as well go ahead and study on for the extra, because they're going to let you take it if you pass the one anyway. So, yeah, I think that might be a good opportunity to do it. 30 days, I think, is a good time frame to get that studying out of the way there. And I agree with you. hamradio.org app is a fantastic study tool. I used it for my technicians. And it's a fantastic tool there. Over.
Yes, hamstudy.org is definitely, I can't recommend it enough. I think it's a great tool. Another great way to study, and Jeff, tell me if you disagree, but another great way to study is to find a handful of people that are also interested in studying the same material, and holding a weekly or a couple times a week study session. It's enough time for you to go over the material on your own, but yet come together and talk about what you've learned. And one of the great things about that is everybody has their own way of remembering information. And so those conversations can very often lead to tips and tricks and key words about tough questions that can help you get the answer right every time. And so just having a kind of a group that you can study with and have accountability between one another, and measure your progress as you go can be a great tool to accomplishing your goals of becoming or upgrading your
I think for us, especially with the extra, we had set a deadline. We were going to take the test at the Atlanta Ham Fest in June or July, whenever it was. And the group collectively said, okay, we're going to meet every week. Here's our study day. And make it or not, life gets in the way. That's okay. But collectively, the whole group is taking the test at Atlanta Ham Fest. So it kind of pushed each other to stay on the same page, if you will, not to be corny with the, but even if you missed a week because of work or life got in the way, that you needed to catch up and stay on that material, because we've already moved past it the week before. So it was definitely, the accountability of it was definitely helpful to me for the extra. I mean, everybody learns different. For me, I think trying to do that in the tech stuff, I think to me that would have been too slow for the tech. I just read through it, slammed it, and went and took the test. But for the extra and for the general, I'm sure for some folks, there's a lot more material on that test that if you really want to get proficient and learn it and go take that test confidently, the group was definitely a good thing to do in the higher levels of the test. And that book we used was very helpful as well.
Yeah, that was a great book. I can't remember what it's called. We'll have to find that and maybe post what that book was. He's written a series of books for all three test levels.
Correct.
Let's break and come right back. So one of the things that I found by studying that material as a group is there were things that I learned about the material that were presented in ways that I never would have thought of, and those different perspectives and different approaches to answering some of the tougher questions were very meaningful to me because it gave me a completely different way to think about it and understand it than I would have gotten had I just been reading the book on my own. So, a huge value. I highly, highly recommend that if you can find a few people that you can study with and hold accountable to. And in fact, Julie and I, when we studied for our technician's license, we did it together. We studied all the material together. We quizzed each other throughout the study time for both the technician and for the general, and we passed those tests together. In our study group of 6 people for the extra license, all 6 of us passed. And I remember vividly, one of the 6 showed up late and in a bit of a frazzle and very stressed out. And how did you do? And well, I passed. Well, how did everybody else do? Well, they all passed. Well, crap. There's always one that doesn't make it, and it looks like it's going to be me. but lo and behold, he passed, and we all became extras. So that was a very exciting and very rewarding period of time. And spending that time with those people, I think, deepened some relationships and some friendships, and I think that was also very meaningful. Do you have something?
So it was pass your amateur radio, insert your level here, whether it be tech, extra, or general, the easy way.
The easy way.
It was a paperback book by Craig Buck.
That's right, Craig Buck.
K41A, or IA.
And yeah, his approach is basically this, is that for every question on the test there are 4 answers, and 3 of them are wrong. And a lot of the material that you'll approach will have you focusing on all 4 of those answers. And so you spend a lot of time learning what the wrong answers are, because we don't want to make the wrong choice, we want to make the right one. Well, Craig's approach is to forget about the wrong answers. Let's just focus on the right answer, and let's learn the material. And by doing that, I think you save some time, maybe a little bit of mental horsepower.
Well, you're only focusing on 1 correct answer instead of 3 wrong answers. It's a third of the information that your brain needs to retain.
Right, and I think it's a smart way to go about pursuing that. So that's the book, is The Easy Way by Craig Buck.
They're on Amazon. The paperback copy is like $7 or $8, but you can find them at any bookstore.
Yeah, and you'll probably be able to find a copy at the Hamfest, so that when you pass your technician, you can get a copy for the general and get busy studying that one right away.
Just make sure you get the correct years, because the test changes every so many years. So if you go order the book online, don't order the book from 3 years ago, because it's not going to be the correct information for this year's test.
The questions do get updated from time to time, so pay attention. There's a bit of an offset between the different levels.
Yes.
But every couple of years, the questions get updated. It's not a huge change typically, but there will be material that gets dropped out of the test, and there will be new material that gets added in. Not a lot, but some. And so if you do study the wrong material, you're probably still going to pass. Probably. But you could miss some questions that weren't that hard had you just seen them
correct questions
correctly beforehand. So definitely consider that. Also consider this, is that if you take the test at Chattanooga and you want to upgrade but you don't make it, or if for whatever reason you don't pass, there'll be another opportunity at the Stone Mountain Hamfest just a couple of weeks later.
Right.
So that's an exciting option too, is that you get a second chance at this if for whatever reason you have unsatisfactory results at the Chattanooga Hamfest. Let's break. Okay, we have a few in and outs to get through here. We have Atlanta 178. Michael in Conyers is in and out with us tonight. Gainesville 43. David in Auburn in and out. Cades Cove 80. Eric in Rockwood is in and out. Have a great evening, Rocky. Atlanta 434. Ron incoming, also in and out. Those are the check-ins we have this evening, and that's going to wrap things up for us. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring up before we close?
I don't think so. Do you?
No, I think this is the right time to call it. So, net control. Oh, I've lost my page again.
Oh, now you've done it.
Yeah.
You had one job.
I know. It's like it's not even here. It's because I moved. This concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. I don't know why I can't remember that. We had a total of 56 check-ins, including myself and Jeff. Net control will now be returning the repeaters to normal use. Everyone who signed in should sign out. I want to say thanks to each and every one of you out there for allowing us to serve as your net control this evening. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
And Atlanta 750, WRMR 367. My name is Jeff.
We are North Georgia GMRS Network.
And we are clear.
Good night, everyone.